Scaife has taken over from Greg Murphy, and the reason is you can see the windscreen wipers working there. Doesn't look so bad on top of the mountain, but as they went down Conrod Straight the previous time, there was quite substantial rain, and it swept across the main straight as well. You can see, looking at that sky, that the clouds are broken, but there are very dark clouds surrounding the Mount Panorama area. Now, a lot of the cars have pitted, but these two lead cars did not. The TWR cars at the front of the field, and that's when Scaife took Murphy. Let's have another look. This, as you can see, is on the main straight, and Murphy was still at that stage in the lead. Scaife made the move as they headed up towards the mountain. Now, behind them, all the other cars on the lead lap just about had pitted, including some of the leading Fords. You can see the steam coming off the circuit there as the sun that has been shining frequently throughout the day has left a lot of heat in this track. So we're getting all kinds of weather. There was even reports of snow. Back to the pits.
Here we go, back to live pictures.
Bargwanna and Tander, they have come in for some wet weather tyres. Ritter also. It's now starting to hail a little bit more down here, but it's so intermittent, the rain. Some of the crews are talking about staying out there on slicks to see whether the weather will go away. But one of the issues they're facing is on this dark track, because it's a new surface, it's darker, you can't see the damp patches, and it's catching out some of the drivers. Last year when it was a lighter grey, you could see them, but now they're running into trouble when they don't see these dark patches around the top of the mountain especially.
Well, interesting situation. It's very minute hail that's falling in pit lane, and you can see the way the steam is rising off the hot track surface down here at the moment. This is a gamble for the teams, whether to bring the guys in or whether to leave them out. Oscar Fiorinato from Gibson Motorsport was on the radio to Craig Lowndes. A very late call. They said, stay out there, don't come in. The reason for that, Craig has consistently been the fastest driver on the circuit over the last few laps. They want to stay in touch with the lead group.
Well, there they are. There's the Gibson Motorsport Ford just coming into shot, so it's in third place now. It was probably a good call to stay out on the track when some of the other guys came in for wet weather tyres. The track conditions, I mean, you've got 6.2 kilometres of bitumen here. Some bits are wet, some are dry. Very, very hard call.
I definitely would have said that to stay out on slicks because it's so windy outside here.
That was a...
But not wet enough yet, anywhere near wet enough yet, but slick. And as I said, on the other side of this is blue sky.
Yeah, that's the saying. It's sprinkling everywhere. But it's not wet enough to put wets on, you know. That's what I was saying, that it's so much wind here. If you look at the sky, there's really big blue patches. So I think Bargs, they stuck on your car wet tyres. So what do you reckon?
Well, it is a big call. I mean, you arrive at the top of the mountain and this water hits the windscreen. You think, oh, here we go, this could be ugly. But obviously, not being out there, I'm not sure what the track's like up at the top of the mountain. But looking at that, it looks quite dry. Slicks would be all right there, but down the bottom here where the hail is, it's very ugly.
Brad Jones down the inside of Thomas Mazira, and that puts the Aussie Male Ford up into fourth position. So the order at the moment is Scaife, Murphy, Lowndes, Jones up to fourth. Mazira goes back to fifth. Then it's Ingle. Gee, that little sprinkle of rain's just really mixed things up now. And it's been a brilliant jump up the grid now for both those teams, the Gibson Motorsport car and the Aussie Male car. They've taken advantage of that situation, staying out when a lot of the others went in for wets, and that's moved them right up the order.
Well, I think Russell Ingall is in fact just a little further up the road in front of these guys. So Jones has in fact moved into fifth position. Mazira further behind him. And what an outstanding drive by the Aussie Male Falcon. Brad Jones putting that frustration into constructive, positive work out on the circuit.
Now we hear there's some moderately heavy showers moving in from the southeast. So we could be in for some more rain. This is very, very dicey stuff, Jason Bargwanna. Very tough for the team managers to make a call on what they do.
This is perfect. This is exactly what we ordered. It worked for us last year, so we asked for it to happen again. So it is a tough call. It's very hard to make decisions. HRT tend to be a little bit more organised than everyone else in terms of their computers and so forth. They've got internet access and they know where the weather is and all that sort of thing. And following them is probably not a bad idea at the moment.
Just coming to the Holden Racing team just a few moments ago. They don't have the internet system up on a localised basis at the moment. They've only got a statewide map. So as a consequence, the boys down here have been ringing places like Orange Airport trying to get the latest information. Craig Lowndes' crew, meantime, Alan Heafy has spoken to him. They say that Craig is their best weather guide at the moment, and they're saying it's his call.
Well, can you believe that? Just while you were talking, Rusty, Craig Lowndes has surged through to the lead of the V8 Supercar 1000. He's carrying a lot of speed on the Gibson Motorsport car. Forced his way up the inside of Mark Scaife's Holden Racing Team Commodore. And these were the three who did our Kmart inside line running, showing you the way around Mount Panorama. Now they're showing you the way around in first, second and third place. Craig Lowndes now takes over the lead. What an incredible change of events. Look at that. Got another downpour on its way.
And it's raining on top of the mountain.
Okay, mate.
Teams are informing their drivers. Just be cautious is the call. And that's what they will adhere to. Garth Tander in car 34. Powers on past the Rodney Forbes Parsons entry.
In ninth place. They were one of the teams that came in for wet weather tyres when the heavens opened up. That was the wrong call. Moved away. We had sun come out. They've had to come in and make an extra stop to go back to slicks. It's a very, very brave man. He can make a call on rubber, a decisive call on rubber at that time.
And Tander will be hoping for a pace car.
That's what you're in for, you see, because you come howling up there in the dry, and then at the second you get to find out it's wet, it's wet, it's too late, you know, it's too late, and to catch it like that, it's frightening.
Well, that's a classic example of what I was talking about, how it can change so quickly. Listen to the tyres squealing and screeching for grip.
And then you go down the other side of the circuit, it's bone dry, so...
6.2 kilometres, that's why we can have varying weather conditions on varying parts. These guys are on slick tyres and fighting to keep these big 1,350 kilo monsters on the road.
How'd you fancy that, Marco? At the end of the straight here, 290 odd Ks, right-hand kink on slicks in the wet. Lovely.
Yeah. Very, very intimidating sort of place. This is Tander, he's still in ninth.
What do you reckon, mate? Wet or not?
Discussion going on at HRT. What's the call?
They're weaving their way through the slower
It's
cars.
wet enough down here. I don't know what's like up top.
Well, it's very hard at the
It
top.
looks like it's missing at the top here.
Persistently coming down was Mark Scaife's call.
I mean, mate, if you don't think it's safe, just come in and put wets on.
Tander is continuing. He's not thinking it's wet enough up top there. This is where it's a gamble. Tander came in last time, so maybe the Valvoline team are a little gun-shy to do it again.
Oh, no, it's...
That's up on top of the mountain. I think that's just coming over McPhillamy Park. Oh, problems here for Larkham.
Is that the Gibson car?
That's Lowndes.
Lowndes is in the wall.
No.
Lowndes has gone into Forest
Look at
Elbow.
this, look at that.
On the exit to Forest Elbow. Can you believe it? The race leader.
And that is not the first time that's happened to Neil Crompton. When he and Wayne Gardner were leading before, that's exactly where they crashed out. They're going off everywhere. That's a Ricciardello Nash entry.
Safety car is on the circuit, not surprisingly. Now, Craig Lowndes has gone into a tyre barrier there. He hasn't hit the concrete, I don't think. He's just dislodged. Haviland car, there's going to be cars spearing off all over the place. There's still going to be a few more, I reckon.
And do you see, this is what I was saying when you're going up the mountain. If it was as wet as this when you got to the top of the mountain, you could have a horrific break.
Well, it just goes to show the Haviland car was caught out. Probably what caught Lowndes out as well. Now, Lowndes, I can't quite see there whether he's managed to back out of there, but he actually drilled the tyre wall.
Oh, look at those. Now, that is, they're going to think, oh, well, he's going that speed, so I can go that speed, and both go off together.
No, he's still in there.
Stuck in there. Craig Lowndes in the Gibson Motorsport Ford. You're looking at your race leader, or he was the race leader, crunched into the Aussie Mail elbow.
How would you feel? How would you feel?
So, the way it is, just wheel spin.
Yeah. Till someone tows me backwards, I'll be able to drive it back.
He's feeling vulnerable there.
Tander's
Problems
gone
here
off
for
as well.
Tander and Bargwanna. Everyone's losing it down at the elbow. So there's cars spearing off every direction.
Well, here's a replay, a Shell Helix replay of Gibson Motorsports. Craig Lowndes, watch to the top of your screen, trying to pull it up, and crunch.
Well, that car doesn't look very badly damaged at all. Look, if he can get out, let's see the wheel spin. He just can't back the car out.
That's what he was saying. It was just spinning.
Neil Crompton, we're just watching the replay there. It looks as though he's gone in, but the main problem seems to be just backing the car out. It doesn't seem to be too bad, the damage.
No, I suspect that the Forest Elbow there's a lot of tyres with the rubber belt round the outside. Obviously, we can't see the front of the car, and I've not really seen what's happened, but maybe you need to rock the car sometimes to be able to engage reverse gear, so there's a problem there. But, yeah, obviously disappointing and frustrating considering our pace.
Yeah, certainly it was going so well, Neil. It's a real shame for you.
It's unbelievable, Rusty. 3 times I've stood out here for a driver change when we've been leading a race, thinking, oh, be a beauty, and it hasn't quite worked for some reason. So maybe I just should stay inside for a while.
Hard luck. At least he's laughing, guys.
Oh, imagine the disappointment. He's used to the disappointment. Crompton's had an enormous number of disappointments at Mount Panorama. One of the fastest men ever around this daunting circuit, and luck just does not fall his way.
This is Garth Tander. Watching the Lowndes car is off to the right-hand side on the grass. Well, that was almost...
Just as well they put those tyres there.
Yeah,
Do you remember a few years ago when Gardner and Crompton were leading? Gardner stopped there and Larkham slammed into him. It was almost a repeat of that.
There we go, the Caterpillar Ford just disappearing out of shot. What's here? Okay, this is the moment on top of the Terry Wyhern Rod Salmon machine. Oh, wow, didn't he drill that bank?
That's a big contact.
That's a big hit.
Oh, he got it going.
He's got it going, but he's dropped, I think, 2 laps. Maybe 2, maybe 3 laps.
The wheel's straightening up.
Stuck in there.
Not too much damage to it.
Oh, there we go. Got a tyre rubbing down.
Straight, steering wheel is straight, there's a lot of smoke coming in the car.
He's just saying that the steering wheel is straight, so it's obviously just pushed the front bar onto that right front
it's
wheel.
just shaking the steering.
2 laps to go, 72 laps to go.
2 laps down he is. We've just checked on our lap board, so... Gee.
Mate, it's just not Ford's track, is it?
No, it's amazing how Ford said still...
Before it's Falcon, unbelievable, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Todd Kelly leading with Larry Perkins zeroing in on the back and Stephen Richards running third. This was just remarkable. They exited the Aussie Mail elbow and came down Conrod Straight. Now watch the Castrol Commodore. Larry Perkins begins to reel the youngster in. Here he comes, the 6 times winner, and he says, I've got you. On the outside, but Kelly held his own. They went side by side through the kick. Perkins tried to outbrake him. Then Kelly responded.
Wet. Watch, look, wet.
Off went Richards, off went Kelly. Kelly spun, trying to get back onto the circuit. Perkins took the lead, and then all hell broke loose. Watch in the background as the Cat Ford goes off, and then the number 2 HRT Commodore of Jason Bright. They were scattering like flies. There was another one still to come, and that was the Toll IPEC Ford. Unbelievable. We believe the report was there was a patch of hail only in around the chase.
Now, a lot of cars are coming in for that final stop. They've taken advantage of the safety car period, and here it is, Larry Perkins. The amount of speed the veteran was showing. Now, apparently, Larry had a bit of a crash coming into the pit lane entry, and look at the damage on the front of the car. So hopefully they can get the guard away from the tyre and get him back into the race.
Yes, guys, the front of the car is an absolute mess. Would you believe it? He inherited the lead, come into pit lane and had an accident. Now, the front of the car is quite dashing, trying to push the guard off the front wheel. Now they'll go out. The crew reacted very well. Now, this is the time when things must go right for Larry Perkins if he's going to win this race.
Well, Larry's dug deep. Let's have a look at the replay of what happened.
Curb.
Well, the road was slippery and
voila.
woof.
Oh.